Welcome to the Warranty, where we discuss the terms and conditions of the guaranteed adventure. This is our Maplewood after show.
Yeah.
So we have wrapped up Maplewood.
It is done.
It's all done. I am no longer your GM, Tim. I am now your warranty officer, Tim. As
Official.
I now facilitate the discussion around.
All right. Well, we know where Kyle feels. All right.
Well, one of these questions, let's just hop right now. I'm just kidding. We're just going to talk about the Maplewood as a whole. We have some questions here submitted by listeners, I believe. We also have phones available and open for calling. It is 867-5209 to call in.
Oh, 209.
Is it what is it actually?
309.
Oh, it is 309, isn't it? Oh, I guess I should. So everybody's here.
Yeah.
I guess we could introduce everybody.
I'm Seth. I played Otis Sagraine, but really it was Clover.
Clover.
Are we going out of order now? We're
going out of order.
Okay. Hi, I'm Kyle.
Perfect.
I played Jean Auton,
Jean.
and I will never French accent as Jean Auton again.
Yeah.
Yeah, French accent, a different character.
I'm the other Seth, and I played Quill Greybell.
And I'm Nathan, going last this time, which feels weird.
Right.
And I played Bertram Honksleaf.
And
Bertram
Honksleaf.
And I don't know.
I actually did have a plot-related question.
Ooh, all right.
What actually happened to Beckett? To Otis's
Beckett.
dad?
So, Beckett was pretty much manning the shop as during the time of the Great Calamity. And so Hasselpaw was really the one who was in the workshop doing the experiments with the shards of creation and everything. Beckett was slowly not wanting to continue that research because he saw he was starting to hear the voices too of different things, and that freaked him out. And so he decided to man their shop, which was in it was outside of the Scorched Grove. And so when the Great Calamity hit, the shop got just absolutely ruined, and he got pretty seriously injured, which was why he died 9 years later, something like that. But he always felt like he wanted to go back to Clover and see him again. He followed Clover very, very closely through his acrobatic career. So always kind of felt bad about not being a great dad. Kind of sad.
Too bad.
Too bad. So sad. All right, looks like we have a caller.
We do?
We do. Seth, do we have a caller?
We do. We do actually have a caller on line 1. Oh, a familiar number.
Hi guys, this is Sammy. I stole my mom's cell phone. I just asked this question.
Oh, hello, Sammy. Sammy, hello.
Welcome back.
Hey,
Sammy.
Tim, what was one of your favorite moments as the GM?
Oh, great question, Sammy. Probably my favorite moment as a GM was when you all decided to turn around and go back to Marshview.
Yeah.
In episode, I think that was 2.
And just completely derail the story?
Completely derailed. So I had a ton of stuff planned as far as what's going to be in different towns and where different clues might be left. And I very not accidentally, I did it on purpose, but I made one of our characters, I think it was Jean's, Frost Rock. I made him appear.
Very strong bait.
Yep, and it was just it was too strong. Didn't realize how strong that would be.
Yep. The fact it was also Bertram's a bit of a...
Yep. Bertram's dad's killer.
Right there. Yeah.
Yep. It was, I should have thought about that a little more.
Half the party is kind of hey, we have a vendetta against this guy, and he's showing up now. Okay.
Okay, here we go.
He's a day away? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I remember talking to you on the drive home and how you're I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have done that.
Not have done that.
Because you were just all my plans are ruined.
It's all gone. Starting again.
You're well, maybe I'll just, oh no, he got too far ahead, or no, yeah.
Honestly, though, I think it it made a way better story than what I was going to do. So, or what I had planned initially. So it all worked out. That's why it's become my favorite, because I was like, it's a good learning lesson for me.
So I'm not sorry.
So no,
You take it back.
Don't be sorry. Don't be sorry. Thanks for calling, Sammy.
Okay, we got another call on line 4 this time. Caller, what's your question?
Hey, I was wondering, with Seth and Tim as the GMs so far, what's been the aspect of their respective GMing that the players have enjoyed the most?
Oh, yes.
Oh, well, thank you, caller, for calling in. That's a great question. Not one that I can answer because...
Well, you can answer, but in regards to Seth's GMing...
okay, yeah, I guess so. That's true. I can answer that. I won't yet, but I could.
I think never having GM'd with Seth before, I really appreciated the... I think you've called it nodule, like planning that you...
Node-based scenario design.
The node-based,
node-based, yeah. So I've really... enjoyed just hearing about that, and it makes me excited for attempting that whenever I run an adventure. But yeah, I'd say like that was just it helped to know like, oh, these clues are leading towards something, but I don't necessarily need to chase them right now. And then Tim, we've played together in other games before, so I just like your creativity and off the walls thinking at times. So just like, where did that come from? So yeah, I mean,
and it works.
It's great.
It always works.
It's true.
Every time.
Yeah.
It never doesn't work.
Never, ever.
I appreciated with Tim your like descriptions of stuff that you'd like prepared beforehand, so it was all very descriptive and clear and well put together. That's something that I'm not good at. So it was nice to see that.
Yeah. I think I like so Seth's like the node base too, because after kind of related to that first question, after the story got flipped, I was like, I kind of came to Seth, I was like, how do we tell stories? I don't know. It's all gone. And so it was really like good to talk with you about that and like how you approached it and everything. So yeah, with that node based. It's good.
Node-based scenario design on the Alexandrian. That's the website you want to go to. A series of articles.
Okay.
Yes.
But I hate reading.
I'm sure you could find a text reader.
You want me to read it aloud for you sometime?
There you go.
I just need someone to read me a bedtime story of
node-based bedtime story.
I'd say like one of the things I've kind of liked both about Seth and Tim is just the willingness for our creativity and our stupid ideas and like running with them. Like Seth just kind of with Rattlestead, just like the fact that you established Rebecca as a major plot point. Like you took what was to start off as a simple joke and was just like, nope, we're taking this. Like this is a plot point now. This is like she's now a major character.
Yeah, because you just walked into the saloon and like we're looking for teeth. I think I don't know if that made the final cut, but I remember you asking that you wanted to look for a fight to see if you could pick up some teeth.
Yep.
And then I had to figure out why these people were fighting. I'm like, yeah, of course there's a fight. You're gonna find teeth.
Yeah.
So they're fighting over a woman.
The singer.
So if that name still gives you PTSD, Seth.
I have a coworker named Rebecca, so it makes it a little bit hard.
But yeah, then like Tim, as well as your ability to just run or to be able to change, like pivot, and what do you feel like it may have even been for the better after like Kyle and I kind of derailed where you were going with just the like, oh, you're doing, wait, this guy's here. Whoops.
Oh,
Bing. Yep. It's on our radar now.
Change the story.
Like, so yeah, both of you guys with your willingness to adapt to what we wanted to do as characters, I thought was like not just like you could have just like railroaded us, but chose not to.
Yeah. Turns out Frostrock actually was going the other way towards the port.
It was a different wolf with a shoulder.
Yeah, there's a different one named Frostrock.
Also involved in the bandits.
Yeah. Weird.
Twin brother.
For me, Seth and Tim are very different GMs. Like, Seth is very go with the flow. He's very good at improving his way through stuff, while Tim made a really well done world, which I really liked. Like, he had answered everything. We'd have a question. He'd have, like, a thing ready for us for that. Like, all these different, like, chapters and all that stuff. He just had different answer for everything that we would want to know about the world.
Yeah. A lot of that comes from, like, for me, a lot of that came from, I've only run home games, and a lot of them are in worlds that I've just made up. And so that's what I like, is just like doing that. But I also like the world building aspect of it. Like, ooh, what are the religions of this world? What are the, different ways that the societies interact? What are the different levels of that? And so that's, it's a lot of fun for me to just like plan that out. I'm a nerd like that.
Yeah.
Kind of like that too.
Yeah.
I like to world build too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've enjoyed the adventures so far. Looking forward to the next one, whatever it might be.
Who could know?
Who could know?
Oh, man.
Oh, well, we have another caller on line 2. Yeah, line 2. Caller, what is your question?
Hello, Seth. Over these first 2 adventures, you've had several instances of some really rolling really poorly in skills your character is supposed to be really talented in. How has you have a player handle that, as you're likely seething with frustration?
Great question. I don't think I've ever rolled so terribly until this podcast. I've been in other games, and I've not been a bad roller. In this one, it truly is like bad rolls. It's not like low rolls, it's bad rolls. I have that same curse that's
bad rolls.
Just bad rolls.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Your dice just have performance anxiety.
Yeah. So, like, I think I've learned when I first started playing, I made the mistake of just, like, wanting to create the best character or with that. But as I've played more, I've really tried to embrace the faults and the mistakes, because that's what really kind of flushes out a character and shows another side of them. And so the same thing with the rolls. As frustrating as it is, and you can hear it, especially in Rattlestead, I think, just because...
They were so bad in Rattlestead.
It was awful. I mean,
it was always the time when you're trying to do like I'm going to be like trying to make a bunch of money, and nope.
Yeah, truly, I created that character not meant to be bad at gambling. He was just never good at it. And then I think by the 3rd episode, it's like, I give up. He's just going to be a bad gambler. Like, this is just the way it's going to be.
And really just bad with money, because you had that scene with the
cow.
trader. It's like, he sold it for less than what you would have got.
I mean, that was on purpose.
Well, yeah, but
yes, yeah. So, yeah, I truly embraced it. Although I do feel like Quill sort of redeemed himself a little bit with some of the shooting, until it was like major plot points. No, I could not hit anything. Just shooting a random hedgehog and pigeon on a watchtower. Yeah, no, I could demolish them and turn them into fluff balls.
Right?
So,
Yeah.
I don't know. As a player, I just tried to embrace it. Yeah.
Hey, why don't you roll an insight check?
An insight check right now.
Yeah.
Natural one. Dang it, not again.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Try to embrace it. Try to accept it as a story plot. Yeah. Change your character.
Line 4 is lighting up, looks like.
Yeah, I don't want line 4. Line 7.
Okay.
Line 7. Perfect. Caller on line 7. What do you have for us here?
Yeah. This is for Seth.
Sorry, which one?
Seth. G.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Did you write the songs you sing as Otis? And are you singing it live for the podcast / everyone else, or did you record it beforehand?
Yes. So those are both original songs that I wrote. I wrote both of those. The first one that I sang at my character introduction, that what you hear on the recording was the first time I ever sung that song.
Yep.
And also probably the last time I ever sung that song. So none of them had any idea what it was going to be about.
Yep.
I just said, I came up with this song. It's kind of funny. I think it'd be a nice tone shift to introduce my character.
Yeah. It was great. I loved it.
So when they're laughing at the end, that was the reaction.
Yeah.
That was one take.
It was, yep.
The second one, we meant to record live, but forgot to bring a guitar
Yep.
twice.
I claim partial responsibility for that.
But so Tim and I recorded that at work and
Yeah.
put that in later. So when we in that episode where it plays, no one other than Tim had actually heard it at that point.
Yeah.
Correct.
I don't think anybody heard it until it released, basically.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
You had he gave you the general gist of what the song was about.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. So Bertram's response was like, "Wow, that was so beautiful." For all Bertram knew, it was awful.
That's just how
Full
Bertram rolls.
screamo song.
Well, that was so beautiful and
It brought me to tears because my ears are burst.
In all fairness, Bertram is Barbarian, so I feel like that actually would be on par with
Yeah.
it, though. But
Would have been perfect. Nice. Well, they were great.
Thank
Great
you.
songs. Good stuff. Well, can we expect more songs in the future?
I don't know. Depends on the character.
Okay. It's not going to be every character has a song.
I don't know. Every character I play is a bard. Just that's how it ends up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They all do stuff for the story.
Yeah.
All right. Should we go back to line 4? I mean, they've been on hold for a while.
Yeah. No, let's do line 3.
All right, line 3.
What story plans had to immediately change because of a failed roll?
Well, thanks for that call. We're I hate this. I don't want to be. I don't want to be the guy that answers it and then says thank you.
you want to talk to yourself?
No, this is awful. Hello, no, this is great. No, really, it is great.
That's how it feels like when you're
Like, I'm eavesdropping on the conversation.
either eavesdropping on the conversation. Yeah. And then the GM has to come up with a conversation with themselves.
Oh, wow.
I hate that.
Thanks for calling in.
I think you kind of hinted on one of them when you, like with Truman, you said that like he was supposed to be a really good gambler,
Yeah,
but then you started rolling really bad, and then it just turned out to
Yeah.
be a bad gambler.
yeah.
So that's kind of one
Yeah.
story plan change.
Yeah.
There's some other ones in Rattlestead that got cut that we decided to just should not see the light of day.
Yeah.
So
Couple things.
we
that
also there's also I think episode 6 in Rattlestead when we're going into this to see the River Dad
Oh, yeah.
in Time Stops.
Riverdad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
River
And-
Dad.
It was a question of how brutal do we want to be in this
Right.
show.
Yeah.
Because there was the scenario of the guards holding Gaupin.
Mm-hmm.
The way that we approached it the first time was not as simple as pulling the arms apart.
Yeah. It was.
A little bit more violent. It was funny, but then I think like 3 minutes later, we are like, we should re-record that.
Yeah, that's not
So,
quite the tone we want to have.
yeah.
Then I kind of actually had a similar moment with Bertram as well, too, in the season finale, where it was more like when I was getting rid of the snake that was wrapped around me, I was like, started describing it, and I thought, think Barbarian thoughts, but this is too brutal
Barbarian.
of a-
Yep.
But in that situation, like it was a snake and not
Yeah.
another person.
And it was like an ash snake.
Yeah. So, because some things from different planes, they don't count.
I'm trying to think of
plainest.
failed roles and how they changed the story, though. I'm not picking it.
Otis did not fail a lot of rolls.
No, he did not.
Otis was just insanely
Well,
good.
he
at
did,
it.
reading the diary.
That's true.
That's true.
You failed your
Oh.
insight rolls.
Yeah.
You
Yep.
hinted on that.
Yeah, every single time.
Yeah. Not
for
that
the
it,
end.
it didn't necessarily change the story in Maplewood. It more like
Emphasized,
made the
yeah.
story go longer. Like it drew out some more plot points.
I think at the end of Maplewood, like when we were taking down the machines and everybody was failing, I think that kind of changed how I was thinking about it. To see, okay, this is actually like every turn that we're failing, bigger and worse monsters are coming.
Yep.
And so that kind of made me think sideways about how can I approach this differently instead of just trying to brute force it.
Those are the things that I love to implement into like things. I don't always do it like the right way, but it's like making like here's a situation, you can brute force it, you can come at it, and it might take a while, but you can do it. But then there's also like it leaves avenues for like side things to open up. And
Because you weren't planning on us going into the Matrix, plugging in, were you?
no, I wasn't planning on you trying to get inside Hasselpaw's head or the Aspect's head at all. But that was brilliant. Like I loved that. Is probably my favorite part of Maplewood now is like that final combat and the unique like situation you took with that. It was great.
Had to figure out how to get my +9 persuasion. The boss.
Play to your strengths. DMs will let you do it.
All right. That's awesome. All right. I think we got time for a couple more questions here. Line 4, I think, is actually open up now. Let's just do it. Line 4, why don't you?
Hello, is Vorb.
Oh, 4. Welcome back.
No, not today, thank you.
Do you have a question for us?
Tuesday at 8.
Do you have a question?
Tuesday at 8.
Tuesday at 8.
Tuesday at 8, yes.
No, ape.
Ape. Like APE.
Is Vorb.
All right, we're gonna hang. Great. Okay,
Thanks
moving.
for calling. Line 4. Yep.
We'll not take line. We're not taking line 4 anymore. Okay. Line. Oh wow, we have 100 lines here. Line 100.
Whoa!
Line 100. What do you have for us, caller?
Hi, this is Jerry, aka Sugar Spice. I was just wondering.
Wow! Oh my gosh! Wow, your music. I haven't heard that in a while.
Hey.
You listen to us. Well, that's amazing.
Yeah, I'm one of the Spice Girls. I was just wondering, who do you think brings the most spice to the group?
Oh.
Wow! I was not expecting that caller or question.
Perfect.
Hands down has got to be Nathan. You
Oh,
know?
Nathan.
Had so much spice.
Spice.
How do you measure spice?
You measure spice in the amount of stuff that gets cut, like that we laugh at from that person.
So,
So if we go by season, season 1 would be me.
Season 2.
Probably you.
Me.
Yeah.
Our recordings of tonight.
Me.
Nathan. Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that gets cut that's just stupid and
I mean, we
Humor
talked
stuff.
about it off mic. Episode 9 was a brutal episode.
just slog.
It was I think it was originally 2 hours long. I think the final was about 53
Hours? Wow.
Yeah, well, yeah, I added a lot of fire sounds.
Oh.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, that just had a. I know we got off the topic of the spice thing, but of just what we decided to cut. But that had a lot of moments that were funny. But as a podcast, we try to keep it around an hour if we can. And 2 hours would have just been hard. And that particular episode would have been difficult to do a 2-parter. And it was just there's a lot of extra things that weren't adding to the story, and they weren't necessarily adding to the listening experience either. So it just
Right. They're funny for us, but sometimes that's where it stops.
one of these days there will be I am starting to keep more of the bloopers, things that were funny that we want to play.
Yeah.
Some of them probably will never be released on the public stream, but if we ever have like a private feed, we might release those. Just things that we accidentally say that aren't intended, but ended up not sounding the greatest for everybody to hear.
Right.
So,
That's the beauty of recording this beforehand is so we can
I don't know if we could do live recordings.
no.
All right, let's bring it down to double digits. Caller 10.
Caller 10. What you got for us, Caller 10?
Hello, my name is Zorb. I'm brother of Florb. What was the smoke inhalation mechanic that we didn't see in episode 9?
So how did you get my phone?
Okay, hanging up. Zorb actually had a good question. Zorb, if you're listening to this now, you can call back, but we preferred if your brother did not.
Did not.
All right, yeah. So I guess Tim, what was that mechanic?
Yeah, let me pull that up. Actually, I've got to go back in my notes and see.
Because I don't know. Does anybody remember who rolled that?
I think I did.
Yeah.
Or no, we all succeeded, I feel like.
We some of us succeeded, but there was times where we failed, but you're like, it was a adding up feature or something, right?
So pretty much it was the heavy smoke. If you fail it once, nothing really happens. But if you failed it twice, even if it was like rounds apart, you were basically incapacitated for that round, the rest of that whole round. And so it's basically spent hacking up a lung, like coughing, being disoriented because you were in this deep smoke thing. So you essentially lost a round and then started your next round. Like you just didn't make any progression forward.
Let's pad out the episode even further.
Yeah. That was the idea behind that.
Oh, we got a new caller on line 3. Caller 3, what do you have for us?
Hey, this is totally not Nathan calling in. But, so I was...
Hey, where'd Nathan go, guys?
So I was kind of wondering, like, there's a moment in the final episode of the season that, like, everyone had a chance to talk about, like, give a bit of their backstory, except for Nathan. What's up with that?
Oh, yeah, I do remember that.
Did I really skip you?
Yeah. You didn't realize that? No, you didn't. We all looked at each other like, what just happened? Because, we all had failed rolls. We all had failed rolls. And
it was the time would have been my turn.
Yeah.
I was unconscious. Like I'd been knocked unconscious at
and
that
so
point.
we're all like, Bertram's memory is going to happen, and all of a sudden you're like, and Clover, what do you do here?
Because you said something about like it's a little bit different this time, and I was thinking, it's because it's coming from a guy who's unconscious, and like because we're going into the actual like the backstory, like we went into.
I'm so sorry.
So I just laugh because it's like all this time you're giving me crap about not speaking up, and then it's like, finally a chance to speak. Shut down.
And I completely just.
So what were you going to dream about?
I don't know.
Well, then maybe it was a win-win for us.
I'm out. Thanks, guys. It's been fun.
I had something at the moment, but I can't think of what it was. It's been.
Well, yeah, it was so funny because like we all like looked at Nathan except for Tim, and Tim's like, "And we're gonna do something different." Clover, and Nathan and I looked at each other like, "Wait, what?"
Oh my goodness!
I totally thought that you were aware of it and that you were going to come back to him, and then no, we never did.
No, that was. I'm so sorry, Nathan. I feel really bad now.
Let's report it right now.
Yeah, it's all good. It made me laugh, in all honesty. The fact it happened, and then the fact that it wasn't
Bertram.
Which I think that's a bit why there was kind of that response.
Well, for a second I did think, Tim's just doing this because of the and Bertram.
Nope, it wasn't a bit.
I got to be honest, I was really nervous about that finale coming into it.
That's fair,
but
I feel like it worked out.
It did.
I liked it. I was
yeah.
really satisfied with it.
I wasn't.
It was good that we cut it into 2 parts. Well,
yes,
yeah.
I wanted Jean to die.
He tried very hard to get Jean to die.
So, yeah, okay, so if you're listening to this, you get a sneak peek. So there was a part where I had to cut as the editor because John wanted to sacrifice himself, and it was working fine. I was very upset with it for a while, and I was like, no, if it's going to happen. But then you decided that it wasn't in John's character, like in that moment, because of it was a throwing thing. And
yeah.
I tried to keep it. I tried to split up some words, but we never brought it back to a point that I could have like connected that. So I had to cut that whole section in order for the story to continue.
Yeah.
I was disappointed by that.
And here's something that, as a, like, not only just as a GM of a podcast, but also just like in a regular GM, like for a home game, if you don't want something to fail, no matter what, or if the stakes are too high for that thing to fail, don't make it a roll. And so just narratively describe it. Most of the time, like, players are fine with that, and it's a fine thing to just be like, and then this starts to happen.
And we don't even realize that it was a choice because you didn't make it a choice.
You don't make it a choice because then it's like with the roll, I was like, as soon as I implemented that, I was like, shouldn't have done that because now there's a chance of failure, and what would happen if failure happened? Well, yeah.
I think, being the guy that listened to it about 50 times in the editing room, it was less about him dying. It was more about we all kind of were like, that doesn't feel like that's what would happen because you were trying to throw something, and it's like it's literally like 20 feet wide and you're 5 feet away from it. Why would you jump in? Because you were worried about missing. And so
John is not good at throwing.
Yeah.
I think you did fail the roll.
I did
you
fail.
got a very mediocre roll.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Calling for a roll, like if you call for a roll, both success and failure need to be viable and need to be interesting.
Right.
Otherwise, there's no point in having a roll.
Right. But not interesting to the point of like, because it would have been very interesting for it to fail. It wouldn't have helped the story at all. Like, and that's what's different between, I think, DMing on a podcast and DMing in a home game. Because in a home game, you can just do whatever and solve it later. Like, that's totally fine. But in a podcast, especially with our short form, like 10 episodes, trying to keep a story going, it needs to be a little bit different.
Yeah.
So, which is something I learned, and I am a better DM because of it.
Sure.
I guess that kind of relates to...
That's the kind of the GM one.
Yeah. I was going to say, I missed this call earlier, so it was like a transcript.
Did someone leave you a voicemail?
Someone left me a voicemail.
Oh, did the pigeon come in?
Yeah, a pigeon came in
Nice.
and did that.
And what question was that?
That was for people who aren't GMs and who want to grow into that, what advice could you or would you give them to help them be prepared and confident to do so? It's hard to be prepared, like just being honest, because depending on the players, it could go any number of ways. Like there were quite a few times where I had a lot of things prepared that we didn't get to and didn't even like include them in the story because the players decided to take it in a different direction. Like going into the swamp first. That was instead of going up to
Winnowing Reach.
Winnowing Reach. I had Winnowing Reach stuff prepared and a little bit of stuff in the swamp, and then decided the party was like, yeah, we're just going to go to the swamp and try and get this hideout. I was like, perfect. Okay, here we go. Let's go to the swamp. Let's do it. Let's find out what's in the swamp. I'm curious too. But one of the best things I think advice I can give you is make it fun for everyone, even yourself. Like you're a player at the table too, and if you're not having fun as a GM, then it's not a game worth having. Because if you're only looking for the players to have fun at the expense of what you think is fun, then it's and vice versa too.
I think my advice for someone looking to GM, and there are different kinds of people that run games.
Mm-hmm.
Like some people really like buying like modules or adventure paths or whatever. I've never done one of those in my life. I don't think I would. It's not as much up my alley, having all that stuff prepared by somebody else. But the way I think about it is don't over prepare. Because my philosophy is nothing matters until the players interact with it. So if you plan out a continent with 45 kingdoms on it, if you're doing that for yourself, great. That's fun. That can be that's perfectly fine. But it doesn't matter in the game until the players interact with it. So you can take it one bite at a time. And so if you're looking to start and not sure how to do it, I'd take a 1, 2, 3 step. Plan one just start with one scenario, one adventure. You're going to plan one location with 2 interesting PCs and 3 things in the way from stopping the players from getting their goal. One place, 2 interesting PCs, 3 things that are opposing them. Just do that and you'll get an adventure. And I think I feel like the hardest part of starting to GM is literally starting talking at the beginning of an adventure.
Yeah.
It's
it's so difficult.
It's terrible.
Yeah. Unless you've got a group that's played together quite a bit and has in-character connections. But if it's not in-character connections, it's really hard to get them to, yeah.
Like for us, we have a tagline that we get to say when we start recording. And it's a nice switch to switch it on and then be in that mode.
If we say it right.
So
hey, don't look at me with that. I was trying to keep everything just like fun and exciting. The stories may change. Here's the space.
He's looking at me, I think.
No, I was looking at Tim.
What I think would make you feel more confident in starting off, if you've never done this before, is to write out 1 paragraph worth of stuff. You're going to write out 1 paragraph of description, and then you're going to memorize it. Memorize that 1 paragraph so that you can get at the table. You're not looking at the paper, but you're going to quote this thing verbatim that you've memorized. And then you might have a couple bullet points that you want to hit on a little less planned out. But then as quickly as possible, within the first couple of minutes, you want to say, what do you do? And you want to turn over responsibility to the players. So don't over-prepare. Get to the action. That's how I think about it. I think the other biggest key point is find the system that makes sense to you.
Yeah.
You do not have to know every rule in a system. The system just needs to make sense to you.
Yeah.
Like D&D 5e doesn't make sense to me, so it's really difficult for me to run. But something I've been reading Pathfinder 2nd edition, and the foundation of everything is very consistent, and it makes sense to me. So even though there's way more specific rules and way more specific things written out, even if I don't know them all, I can quickly understand how they work because I understand the foundation.
Me, as a person who does like to prepare for some of this stuff, like, kind of terrifies me to be like, one location, but what if they want to go to a different location? What's that going to be like? So
Worry about that after the first adventure.
Yeah, getting started, that'd be really good.
This is some of the advice that I've always heard too, actually, is that sometimes when a DM is asking for a bathroom break, it's not just for a bathroom break. It is that way they can actually take the time to be like, all right, they're doing this. They just threw this wrench in my plans. I was really expecting them to go here, do this, but they're actually doing this now. I just need like 5 minutes to just kind of recollect my thoughts and do something. So like, sorry guys, need to go to the bathroom really quick. Like, it could be something so casual as that, or like, you know, let's take a little bit of break here while I figure things out. And like,
Guys, messed up my plans. I gotta go to the bathroom now.
Yeah,
I've only GM'd one shots, and we did a Halloween one time, and I did a module because I've never done anything, so I just tried it. It was just a one shot, and I can't remember who it was, but there was a trap, and I was like, they're not gonna do that. Like, it's very obviously a trap. Like, it's gonna be like such a dumb thing if they do it, and then someone did it, and I didn't even prepare for it. But then I think Tim, you were part of that one. Mm-hmm. Like no, it was you.
Yeah, it was me. Yeah,
it was you.
Yeah,
you jumped through.
I jumped through.
Like, there was like rooms, and you jumped through a room selfishly, and everybody stayed behind. And I was like, oh my gosh. Like, there's a time difference. Like, there's a time flux. Mm-hmm. And so with him going, so many things are going to happen before the other players even get there. Yeah. And, so I called for a bathroom break in that moment.
Yeah.
So.
One thing that I feel like don't really hear as many, like, podcasts talk about, just because it's very different, I feel like, for a podcast DMing experience as it does more just a home game DMing experience, is... like, it always helps too to like have maybe in part of a zero session where like we were talking out characters and explaining the world perhaps that you're going to be doing stuff in, helping people come up with backstory. It always helps to also too just like ask the players like, why do you want to play this? Like, are you into D&D, or are you into this game for the role play? Or are you more like, do you not really care about role play much at all? You just want to do like the combat side of things. I want to fight things. I want to loot things. I want to collect all of the stuff.
I want to be the epic hero that does the stuff.
Don't want to be the epic hero who does the stuff. Don't want to make as much money as I can. Like bees, like hoard all the things. Do I want to just kill all the people that I come
Or do you want to
across?
have a nitty gritty business that's running? You know.
Yeah, like because that is a thing that I found that like And as it's something that may just come with experience too as you're doing it, but you may learn there are certain things that you care more about as a GM as well as a player that like maybe perhaps other people don't really care as much about. So right. like I'm more kind of care more on the role play side of things. So I think podcasts you don't really have to worry about as much because that is the intent.
Yeah.
But there are some times where it's like like you can like players like all the players like if they can make an argument or like kind of try to talk to the shopkeep and like try to weasel down a price, give me a persuasion check, see if he reduces the price for you or if he'll give you a bundle or give you a deal on the thing. Like you can buy stuff at face value or you can do that, which can lead to shopping sessions, not just a shopping moment. So it can be kind of a detriment at some times, but
yeah,
sometimes it's just learn the crowd you're with too and learn what they like and learn what you like to do and maybe kind of if there are things that's like I kind of more lean on this, like don't be afraid to let that speak up about that too.
Yeah.
And like any skill, you just you only get better by doing it. You can plan and prep for years, and if you never do it, you're not going to actually develop the skill.
Yeah.
It's like you're not going to hit and your first time is going to be probably a little rough. Like you're not going to write a masterpiece the first time you pick up a pen, and you're not going to hit a home run the first time you pick up a bat.
I don't know. I did. Just kidding.
I think my first game that I ran in Savage Worlds lasted about 3 sessions.
It was like 5, I think.
Maybe it was. I don't remember.
I think-
And of course, the super cool NPC I had created with blue hair and hook swords immediately got executed.
I think that one other thing for just starting out, if you're just floundering about what to do, like think of something that you like. So the first time that I actually GM'd was an Adventures in Middle Earth thing that some friends, we got together and we GM'd that, and I liked it because I love the Lord of the Rings universe. I love Tolkien stuff and all that, and so it was already something that I was semi-familiar with, and so it kind of got in that way, and so it was great.
Kyle, you wrote all that down because we got a pigeon who's waiting for that answer. So,
Yep.
Oh yes, yep,
Got it right here. And
perfect.
Whoop! There it goes.
Bye-bye.
And it just got caught by a hawk. Well,
okay.
moving on.
All right, last question. Caller 1.
Best caller ever.
All right, so caller 1. Who do we have here?
It's Swarb.
Oh gosh.
Oh,
Swarb is
did you change your number for it?
has question. Swarb.
You actually have a question for us?
No question. Swarb.
Help
Oh, you want us to ask you a question?
Swab hurt me. Help me.
No.
There's both of them on.
Oh no.
Florb, do you have a question?
Swarb. Is Swarb for human practice? What?
What?
Is
Your
most
epic
thing?
UUV?
What is happening?
You've done.
What did you say about?
Doing.
Dune?
Fun.
In campaign?
Or regret.
Or regretted? Regretted.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so
you.
much.
Swarb.
Yeah. Oh, yes, we got it. All right.
Tuesday name.
All right. So
I do have a 4-bit translator. I Googled it. Oh. And so...
ChatGPT?
Yeah, ChatGPT pulled it up.
Oh, I didn't know they.
I think they said, what is the most epic thing you've done in a
That's what it
campaign
is.
or you've regretted?
Yeah.
That's what I thought that was very clear.
I thought
That's
that
where I put my tattoo.
I
on.
understood
got
it.
that.
Yeah, it was perfect.
I don't understand it.
Yeah, I was ready to pull my tattoo that says no regrets.
I in a campaign, so the same Adventures in Middle Earth thing, we had Seth and I actually did this, and I still love it. We did a mass combat with orcs and dwarves, or goblins and dwarves, or something like that, using like Grisk pieces, and so each one, but it was pretty heavily based on the mechanics of D&D combat. And so, but it was on a big scale, and I really, really liked that. That was a lot of fun.
Did you see that they just broke the world record with that?
Did they?
It was like 2,000 people playing in one thing. So it was tables with like
awesome.
hundreds of game masters running a table, and then there were a bunch of runners that were reporting everything back to like a central hub that was managing the combat.
Oh, whoa.
Whoa.
They had like
That's
twice as
awesome.
many people as they expected.
Yeah.
It was like
Yeah.
in a mall. It was awesome.
That's sweet. I'll have to look that up. Yeah, this was definitely just like a big mat on the thing.
Yeah.
And our heroes were like they had special actions that they could take to either, help or hinder the enemy or something like that. Super fun.
I think probably my most epic thing that I've done, it was probably the very first thing ever I did in in my first ever time into, I guess, technically it was my second time trying tabletop games because I was invited one time, but then I was supposed to be an NPC, but I kind of took a lot longer to get to that point than it actually planned to be, and I ended up not actually even playing as that. I think it was like a boss or something that I was supposed to be in that campaign, but oh well. But yeah, so then the first time was actually the game Seth mentioned just a little bit ago with the blue-haired guy who with the hook swords. That was actually my character's like closest friend. We were attacking. Like, it was kind of an interesting thing set up too, of like starting off the campaign with like player versus player combat to an extent, because like basically I was part of a faction that we were attacking this other restaurant, and I was just like, and he was just like, what do you want to do? I was the very first one in initiative, I think, too, and I was like, what do you want to do? It's like, what can I do? Like, I'm just looking at all this stuff. I'm like, this is so new to me. What do I do? And like, we kind of just settle on things like, I want to flip a table. Like, all right, roll to do it. Like, Savage Worlds, it's a system where you can actually like roll the maximum on the dice. It explodes and you do even stronger stuff. And so like, I rolled a, what was it, like 18 or something like that? I rolled something high on it, and so it's like I flipped the table so hard that it exploded when it hit the ground. And I was like, awesome, this is what tabletop games are about? Sweet. Let's do it! Like,
that was also the first time Samira was present. Kyle's character was on a date with her.
I do not remember that, but I'll take your word for it.
My most epic thing that I can think of is not necessarily like your cinematic epic moment, but the Adventures in Middle Earth. There was another character that we had who was like the sweetest little like hobbit, like just really was just like a mother figure.
Yes.
Who was played by Travis, and I was this. Not an idiotic guy, but just not intelligent, and just kind of like to the point. Like, just didn't read people. He wasn't emotionally intelligent. And there was a moment where there was a guy who was a bad guy. We tied him up, and I think he got cut loose, and we released him. The Hobbit person was Travis's character was a pacifist. Was like would not hurt anybody, and like took like these damaging points if like we did something quote unquote evil. And so she was like, we cannot kill him. Like, he's gonna we're just gonna tie him up. We're gonna sleep tonight. Then we'll let him loose tomorrow, and then we'll run away. And I think another character and I were on watch, and the other character walked up and like killed him, and then disposed of the body. And I was there. I did not do anything, but when we woke up, Travis's character challenged me of like, what did you do? And I was like, well, he died. And Travis obviously was in the room when it happened, so we were just playing out. It was like truly like I think the first moment that I was able to do conflict, like our role play conflict with somebody and do it well. And for the next like couple sessions, there was this tension of how our characters were going, because my character was like, I didn't lie, I didn't do anything bad, and my character was so bad at explaining it that she thought that I was like I had broke a promise and done something evil and killed somebody and was lying, like all these things. And then at one point she asked one very pointed question, and I was like, no, I didn't kill her. Like he did. And, and she's like, why didn't you say that like days ago? And I think that I remember like going home to my wife and just telling her that, and she was like, I don't understand why you're so excited about this moment. I was like, because I had conflict in a game.
It was great.
And it wasn't like me mad at the player. It was me mad at the and so it was just it was really
me mad at the character that I'm playing.
it was really fun to just a switch kind of went off in my head of like that's how to role play a little bit. So
well, our lines are empty.
Well, Kyle needs to answer the epic thing.
Hey.
I'm not going to do it again.
Tim's great at forgetting
I don't think
people.
Seth's answered either.
Answered it either.
I
take a lap.
think my most epic moment is probably just a character I made, which is Perk Jorgem. Who just like in general, that was probably the longest campaign I've ever done. Yeah. And just his growth as a character to like to what he ended up being. He was basically this like young, brash, always fighting, idiotic character, and he became this representation of a god basically in the final like moments of our campaign basically.
Yeah, I love Perk. Perk's probably my favorite character of yours. I just love Perk. I think one of my favorite epic things that I've done was in the same game the Perk was in, a tournament arc. It was a blast. It was so much fun for me to set up. I was running that game, so I got to create these 5 other teams with NPCs with conflicting goals and ideas. It was a lot more intricate than I sometimes run stuff. And yeah, we had different games and combat. It took several sessions. That was fun.
One of my favorite perk moments was from there as well.
One of my favorite perk moments is from there too, when I one-shot a guy almost, who was not supposed to be able to be one-shot.
Well, thank you, callers, for everybody. I believe we got a question from Zach, Alex, Tobias, Brie, Joe, Buck, and then some 2 very fun aliens. They were definitely an interesting, and a pigeon, I guess.
But pigeon.
Thanks for joining us. We had a great season of Maplewood. We'll see you guys in 1 to 2 weeks with our next season, or at least just a sneak peek of that. If you have more questions about what we do, we're going to try to keep doing some of these warranty things. So if you have questions, just keep sending them.
We'll get to them eventually.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's guaranteed.
That is guaranteed.
Guaranteed adventure.
Go have your adventure of your own. Boop.
So who do you suppose that person pretending to be Nathan was?